Welcome back, comrades. Today we are strapping in for an in-depth breakdown of the Luftwaffe's winged arsenal during World War II. We are tracing the entire evolution of German aviation, from the legendary workhorses of the Blitzkrieg and mass-produced dogfighters to the experimental jet-powered birds and secret Third Reich projects that were light years ahead of their time, yet completely failed to change the outcome of the war. Comrades, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and smash a massive like on this video. Your incredible support is the ultimate fuel for this channel's growth. Now let's move right into the first part of our breakdown, the official in-flight rations that fueled the Luftwaffe pilots. These small, yellow compressed cubes were an absolute lifesaver for troops in the field. They allowed a soldier to instantly transform plain boiling water into a rich, savory, and warming broth. Processed cheese packs. German troops frequently received processed cheese packed either in round cardboard boxes or small squeeze tubes. Highly valued for its exceptionally long shelf life, it provided the essential high-fat content, Scho-Ka-Kola chocolate. This legendary dark chocolate, packed in its iconic round tin cans, was far more than a sweet treat. It was the premier tactical energy supplement of its day. Pickled herring, marinated fish. Canned fish, particularly herring pickled in vinegar, was a common staple issued to German units during rest and rotation cycles. Canned meat ration, Fleischkonserve. A heavy-duty tin filled with stewed pork or beef formed the core protein foundation of every frontline fighter's daily allotment. Knäckebrot, crisp bread. Dry, hard-baked rye crisp breads were the perfect logistical solution for long-term storage, as they were virtually immune to moisture and mold. Bakelite fat container. To carry their daily allotment of margarine, butter, or lard, every soldier was issued a specialized, heavy-duty, round Bakelite container equipped with a secure screw-on lid to prevent leaks. Ersatz coffee. Due to the sweeping naval blockades, genuine coffee beans rapidly became a luxury scarcity. The military replaced it with a bitter roasted surrogate brewed from chicory, malted barley, rye, and ground acorns. Tea ration. Unlike their British counterparts, German troops drank tea far less frequently, generally reverting to it only when recovering from illness or when the standard coffee surrogate was entirely unavailable. Sugar allotment. Sugar was distributed either as dense compressed cubes or in small paper packets of granulated sugar. Serving as a vital source of rapid-burn carbohydrates, soldiers routinely kept a few cubes tucked away in their uniform pockets as an emergency energy boost. Cantina, sutler goods, cantina. When stationed in rear echelons, troops could spend their own military scripts at mobile field canteens to purchase supplemental luxury items entirely outside of the scope of their standard issues. Espit, pocket stove, and fuel. For warming up entrees and boiling water on the fly, German troops relied on the compact, folding Espit pocket stove, fueled by hexamine solid fuel tablets. It was invariably paired with windproof matches designed to ignite even in heavy gales or light rain. Moving on from the in-flight rations, we're heading straight into the second part of our episode, the fearsome ground attack aircraft and dive bombers of the Luftwaffe. These were the exact platforms that forged the tactics of the Blitzkrieg and rained absolute terror on the forces below. Junkers Ju-87 Stuka. The most iconic dive bomber of the Blitzkrieg era, the Stuka struck psychological terror into enemy ground troops with the piercing wail of its wind-driven sirens. Its pinpoint bomb-dropping precision allowed it to surgically eliminate fortified bunkers, supply lines, and strategic bridges. Focke-Wulf FW-190G. This high-speed fighter-bomber variant was custom-built for executing lightning-fast interdiction strikes deep into the enemy's immediate rear. Its heavy rocket and bomb payload, paired with robust armored protection, transformed it into one of the Luftwaffe's most formidable ground attack instruments. Junkers Ju-37G, Kanonenvogel. A dedicated tank hunting modification of the famous dive bomber, this variant was outfitted with two devastating 37mm autocannons slung right under the wings. By executing sniper-accurate strikes directly into the vulnerable rear engine compartments, it could successfully rip through even the heaviest Soviet armor. Henschel HS-123. This legacy infantry support biplane surprisingly demonstrated incredible mechanical reliability and rugged resilience under the punishing conditions of the Eastern Front. Capable of operating out of completely churned-up, muddy airfields, it effectively strafed frontline positions well into the midpoint of the war. Henschel HS-129. Nicknamed the Flying Can Opener, this compact, heavily armored attack aircraft was designed exclusively for close air support and anti-armor operations. While a severely cramped cockpit layout and temperamental engines plagued its pilots, its massive nose-mounted heavy cannon inflicted catastrophic damage on enemy armor columns. Leaving the ground attack wings, we are heading straight for the equally critical workhorses of the Luftwaffe, the reconnaissance and transport aircraft. Comrades, take a split second right now to subscribe to the channel so you never miss our upcoming episodes. Focke-Wulf FW-189 Uhu. This twin-boom tactical reconnaissance aircraft earned the legendary nickname Rama, the frame on the Eastern Front, due to its highly distinct, easily recognizable structural silhouette. Boasting phenomenal low-speed maneuverability and rugged airframe durability, it served as an incredibly effective artillery spotter and presented an exceptionally frustrating, elusive target for Soviet fighter pilots. Junkers Ju-32. Affectionately nicknamed Tante U, Aunt U, this legendary three-engined aircraft was the absolute premier military transport workhorse of the German armed forces across every single theater of operations. This low-maintenance, ultra-reliable platform was heavily deployed for dropping airborne paratroopers, evacuating wounded personnel from front lines, and flying high-stakes supply drops into cut-off, surrounded pockets. Leaving the scouts and supply lines behind, we are moving on to the ultimate striking power of the Luftwaffe, the bombers. Right now, we are going to break down the frontline, heavy and high-altitude machines that were built to level enemy cities and turn fortified strongpoints to absolute dust. Junkers Ju-88. One of the most versatile combat aircraft in aviation history, this platform was mass-produced in massive numbers across an array of highly specialized configurations. It proved equally devastating whether deployed as a dive bomber, a high-altitude reconnaissance asset, a torpedo bomber, or a lethal night fighter. Heinkel HE-274. This high-altitude heavy bomber was engineered to rain down payloads from ceilings entirely out of reach for conventional air defense networks, featuring a cutting-edge pressurized cabin. Developed in occupied France, the project was cut short and the Germans failed to deploy it before their forced retreat. Junkers Ju-288. A highly ambitious, high-speed bomber developed under a massive, sweeping program designed to radically modernize Germany's aging bomber fleet. However, plagued by non-stop mechanical failures with its experimental high-output engines and severe raw material shortages, the project was axed after only a few prototypes were built. Dornier DO-217. This heavy, multi-role platform successfully fulfilled operational roles as a night fighter, conventional bomber, and maritime scout. This exact aircraft secured its place in aviation history by executing the first-ever successful combat deployments of guided standoff glide bombs against enemy naval vessels. Dornier DO-17, earning the iconic frontline military nickname the Flying Pencil due to its exceptionally narrow and elongated fuselage silhouette. This light bomber was already structurally and technologically obsolete by the launch of the invasion of the Soviet Union, lagging far behind newer counterparts in both speed and payload capacity. Leaving the classic piston-driven giants behind, we are rising to the absolute peak of Third Reich engineering: jet and rocket-powered aviation. Comrades, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now and slam a massive like if you're hooked on breakdowns of these secret projects and Wunderwaffe superweapons. Lock in the afterburners because we are blasting straight into the future. Jet and rocket-powered aircraft. Junkers EF-128. This tailless jet fighter interceptor design was rushed into development at the very tail end of the war in a desperate bid to shield the German skies from devastating Allied bombing raids. Featuring a wooden wing structure and a rear-mounted turbojet designed to streamline mass production, the project ultimately never advanced past the wind tunnel mock-up stage. Horton HO-29. A revolutionary jet-powered bomber built entirely on a flying wing aerodynamic layout, heavily utilizing non-strategic wood and specialized radar-absorbing carbon glue. The aircraft possessed early pioneering characteristics of stealth technology, designed to minimize its radar cross-section, but it only managed to complete a handful of experimental test flights before the war ended. Messerschmitt P-1101. This experimental jet aircraft holds the title of the world's first platform to feature variable sweep wings, which could be mechanically adjusted while stationary on the ground. The lone unfinished prototype was captured intact by American forces and served as the direct structural foundation for their own post-war supersonic research programs. Messerschmitt P-1111, a highly ambitious, revolutionary tailless jet fighter concept featuring a radical delta flying wing profile and swept-back wings. While designers anticipated achieving record-shattering speeds, the total collapse of the Third Reich cut all technical data and engineering research permanently short while still on the drawing board. Messerschmitt Me-163 Comet. The only operational rocket-powered fighter aircraft in military history, the Comet possessed unbelievable speed and climbed into battle almost vertically. However, its highly volatile, explosive liquid propellant mix and the lack of traditional landing gear made this futuristic machine notoriously more lethal to its own pilots than to the enemy bombers it hunted. Heinkel HE-162 Volksjäger. This lightweight jet interceptor, constructed primarily out of wood and cheap, accessible materials, was mass-produced under the desperate People's Fighter program. While the aircraft featured an innovative top-mounted engine pod and an emergency ejection seat, the rush development cycle left it with dangerously unforgiving, temperamental handling characteristics in flight. Heinkel HE-280. The world's first purpose-built jet fighter prototype to take to the skies, beating all international competitors to flight testing and delivering superb performance benchmarks. Despite its success, the Luftwaffe High Command dismissed the design as overly complex, ultimately putting their full institutional backing behind the iconic Messerschmitt Me-262 instead. Coming back from the jet-powered future, we're returning to piston-driven classics, specifically the heavy and twin-engine fighters of the Luftwaffe. These machines were originally engineered to be the ultimate apex predators against enemy long-range bomber formations. Heavy and twin-engine fighters. Messerschmitt Bf-110. This heavy twin-engine fighter was originally envisioned as the premier long-range bomber escort platform. When pitted against nimble single-engine dogfighters, it suffered devastating losses, but later successfully adapted into a highly lethal radar-equipped night interceptor protecting the Reich's airspace. Messerschmitt Me-210. This twin-engine heavy fighter was rushed into development as the urgent direct replacement for the aging Bf-110. However, severe aerodynamic design flaws left the aircraft suffering from catastrophic directional instability, resulting in countless non-combat crashes and completely stalling factory delivery lines. Focke-Wulf FW-187 Focke. This experimental twin-engine heavy fighter boasted exceptional speed and agility, comfortably outperforming many single-engine platforms of its era. Despite its immense potential, the Luftwaffe High Command deemed the tactical concept redundant, axing the project after only a tiny pre-production batch was completed. Leaving the heavy hitters behind, we are rising to the grand finale, the most mass-produced, definitive fighters of the Luftwaffe that carried the entire weight of the air war on their wings. Comrades, smash that subscribe button right now if you haven't already, because we are dropping right into the main aerial duelists. Fighters. Arado AR-80. This experimental all-metal fighter prototype was originally designed as a direct competitor to the future Bf-109. However, its fixed, non-retractable landing gear configuration and an overly heavy airframe resulted in subpar flight performance, causing the project to be permanently axed. Focke-Wulf FW-159. An experimental high-wing monoplane fighter developed during the critical competition to select the Luftwaffe's next primary single-seat fighter. Due to its structurally archaic design and a notoriously unreliable, overly complex landing gear retraction mechanism, it lost catastrophically to the legendary Bf-109. Heinkel HE-112. This highly promising fighter design boasted excellent cockpit visibility and a rugged, wide-track landing gear system, but ultimately lost out to the Messerschmitt in raw top speed and ease of mass production. A limited production run of these platforms was exported to Germany's allies and saw combat during the opening stages of the war. Heinkel HE-100. This high-speed fighter successfully shattered the world airspeed record, yet it never entered full-scale mass production due to political backstabbing within the aviation ministry and severe engine shortages. The Germans cleverly deployed the few built airframes as a massive propaganda tool, staging photos to pass them off to Allied intelligence as a new, widely deployed secret interceptor. Messerschmitt Bf-109. The most mass-produced and instantly recognizable German fighter in military history. This legendary platform fought from the first day of the war to the absolute last. Boasting a phenomenal rate of climb and massive potential for continuous technological modernization, this aircraft cemented itself as the definitive symbol of Luftwaffe air power. Focke-Wulf FW-190 Verger. A powerful, high-speed radial engine fighter that earned deep respect from Soviet pilots, who colloquially dubbed it the Focke. Its incredibly rugged airframe construction, devastating punch of autocannon firepower, and advanced cockpit automation made it one of the absolute best and most lethal combat aircraft of World War II. And that brings our breakdown of the German aerial arsenal to a close. Today, we've seen exactly how the highly ambitious concepts and cutting-edge engineering of the Luftwaffe collided head-on with the brutal, grinding reality of a prolonged war of attrition. Drop down into the comments right now and let me know which aircraft caught you completely off guard. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash a massive like on this video, and ring that notification bell. I'll see you in the next breakdown, comrades. Stay frosty and out.